Alright, so this is a quick demonstration of the time tracker by Trabea software for the Acumatica mobile app, and specifically looking at projects and project tasks. So we've got a new time tracker here started, but we haven't clocked in. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is hit clock in on the bottom left. I'm presented with the ability to scan a barcode to clock in to a certain project and task, or I can search for a project. So we'll start with that. I'm just going to click on the search for projects, and I can type in, for example, number 34 and hit search, and this is going to go and find any projects with 34 either in the description or the ID, and I can choose that. Next, I will choose my project task. I'm just going to choose this general requirements here for now. The cost code defaulted in off the employee, and there's several filters, very flexible filters that are built in, where you can define a list of cost codes at the employee and employee class level. You can have it pull only cost codes from the project and project task, and you can also designate certain cost codes as being eligible for the time tracker. So there's a lot of different filters available to help make that selection easy, but in this case we had it default off of the employee and we don't need to change it. And there's also the labor item defaulting off the employee as well. So I really just needed to select the project and task in this scenario, and then I can go ahead and hit OK. And I am now clocked in. You can see the status there next to the name where I'm clocked in. You can see at the very top a weekly total where I've been doing some testing and the start time of this particular task that we're on. I'm going to go in and adjust that, and I'm doing that by going into the tracking tab, and this gives me a little more detail, but I want to drive all the way in to be able to edit this particular time. So I'm going to change this 9:07, and I'm going to pick 8 a.m. and I'm going to hit update, and I'm going to back out. And so now I've started at 8 a.m. and I'm going to go ahead and use this set task feature to indicate that I'm changing the project or project task that I'm working on. So if I go to set task, if I just need to change the task that I'm working on but keep the same project, I can simply hit the task lookup and change over to site work, hit done, and hit OK. And now I'm working on task 2. It's signed me out or clocked me out of the first task and now moved me into this second task, but on the same project. First, let's go in and adjust the time of that task out and task in. You can see those both here at 9:10 p.m. where I tasked out of the general requirements and tasked into the site work. I'm going to go into that task out and update this time, and let's just make it 12 p.m. and update, and you'll notice that the task in also updated to 12 p.m. because these two are connected. The task out and task in were executed with the same action when we used the set task option. So next we're going to back out of this again, and let's set task, and let's change our project altogether, but let's also show how we could use a QR code to accomplish the scanning of a project task, and cost code all at the same time. This could be printed on some form or printed on a barcode label like I've got. So in this case, it's going to change us over to a totally different project. And if we go look at our tracking and look at our new task in, they happen to be named the same, but this one is project number 35. The previous one was 34. So let's go ahead and change those times as well, actually. So let's change this to 3 p.m. And just like in the prior case, it'll update the task in as well. Let's go back. Now we've seen the breakout and break in, lunch out and lunch in. We can do those as well. And when you execute those, it'll tell you you're on break, it'll tell you you're on lunch. And when you're on lunch or on break, the only thing you can do is lunch in or break in respectively. It'll control that for you. So in this case, let's clock out. And let's go take a look at our summary. So here we have at the very top where we were working on project 34, task 1. The second entry is when we switched over to task 2 for project 34. And then this third entry is when we switched over to project 35, task 2. And we did that by scanning a QR code. The others, we manually selected them. And when you're searching for these projects, it does honor if you restrict the employees and designate the employees onto a project so that you could limit what they're seeing. It also honors for tasks, the task visibility settings for time entry, and of course will expect that the project is active and won't show you anything that's already complete, etc. So it does do a nice job, along with what I mentioned with cost codes being able to filter as well, to help make it more efficient when you're selecting these various entities. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit complete, and what that'll do is create the time activities representative of what we just saw on the summary. So those time activities will be visible in Acumatica for any approvals or for releasing, and from a time card they are the native Acumatica time activities ready to go for next steps in your job costing and or payroll. So if I come back into my summary and I drill into one of these, I can actually see that time activity has been created down there, second from the last. And if I back out here, you can see my employee status is clocked out, my document status is completed, so this is ready to go.